Today I'm excited. You know why? New fragrance time. Let's do a review. Everybody who's in the fragrance game basically knows what Lattafa is, and today we're looking at a new fragrance flanker that was quite unexpected, to be honest. They released Lattafa Asad, which is going to be a Dior Sauvage elixir clone, and it really is pretty close to it. Where the heck is it? I have a million, billion, trillion fragrances. There we go. This one definitely captured the magic of the Dior Sauvage, but to be honest, nobody really expected this fragrance, and there's been a lot of buzz going on online about this fragrance in particular. So finally, my pre-order has arrived, and what does this smell like? Is this going to be the coconut unisex beast that everybody is saying it's going to be? Well, stick around, make yourself comfortable, and let's jump into the video. What's going on, everyone? It's Eli with Common Sense. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we're looking at Lattafa Asad Zanzibar. So this definitely follows the same Lattafa Asad presentation. You have this nice kind of textured box on the side. It's embossed here. It's not gold. It's like a dark kind of deep silver. And on the back, you have the holographic sticker, as well as the really, really cool lion detailing on the sides. Let's check out this bottle. I have no idea why they went with the original Lattafa Asad presentation. I know they have Yara and a couple other different women's ones, but this is not related to Asad whatsoever. This one is really dark and spicy, and this smells nothing like the original Asad. So it's not really a flanker. It's not anywhere near the same as the original. So I don't know why they do that, but I like the blue bottle, and I think this is gonna be an amazing summer beast. I already know it has because I've been trying it all week. I was honestly a little bit disappointed because I don't know if you can see this. There were a couple of scratch marks here at the bottom, and this plastic definitely feels a little bit cheap. I always get a little bit sad whenever I see these brand new fragrances and they're already scuffed up in the box. Like, I feel like they could go through a little bit more rigorous quality control, but I guess they have to cut corners to keep these cheap enough as it is. And speaking of pricing, this one actually released for $50, and I believe you can find it for about $40 now on Gift Express and some other places, but I just bit the bullet. I paid the $50 straight from Lattafa USA, and we're gonna check it out. So pro tip, when you're testing out your fragrances, spray them about 20 or so times. It basically preps the atomizer and it lets the fragrance kind of mix a little bit more, so you're not just smelling what has been stagnant in the atomizer and in the little straw. So this has been prepped. Let's do an atomizer check. Very nice. And comparing to the Lattafa Asad, definitely better than the original Asad. So immediately up top, I have a blast of coconut. You also have some powdery iris that smells a little bit aquatic, and you also have some salty air. So it's a little bit musky, has a little bit of an ambroxan vibe. And honestly, this is really, really interesting. It's almost giving me a little bit of an horchata vibe with a little bit of sea salt. So imagine you're drinking a nice, cold, refreshing cup of horchata while walking on the beach. That's kind of what I get out of this. It's also super vanilla heavy, so you're definitely going to be getting some gourmand, creamy tones in this. And I feel like you could also get a little bit of marshmallow. So this is starting to lean a little bit more unisex. I don't think this is going to be for every guy out there, but I really, really like creamy, sweet fragrances. And if you like something similar to Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Le Parfum and the original Le Beau, I think you're gonna like this one. It just kind of takes that profile and it twists it just a little bit and makes it more unisex and creamy. So when I first did the initial spray, when I tested it a couple days ago, I got a little bit of a mentholated vibe. It smelled a little bit medicinal, especially from the lavender, and I think it took it about a day or two for it to kind of settle down, and especially on skin, once you wait about 30 minutes or so, it definitely settles and it becomes a lot more smooth. But a couple days later, it's definitely starting to mellow out, and as you let this sit and macerate on your shelf, it's going to get even better. And that's actually something somebody pointed out on the last Lattafa Al Nashama review that I did, where it changed quite dramatically, especially in the first couple days that I owned it. Yeah, definitely the lavender and the iris give it a slightly herbal, kind of an I'm making up words here. Gives it a slightly aromatic and aromatherapeutic vibe. Just smells very relaxing and very creamy. But yeah, I think there's also some of that cinnamon spice, and I think there's also some incense in here, so it gives it a little bit of a Middle Eastern touch, but not crazy. It's not gonna be super in your face and gonna smell like a smoky incense. It's just gonna be a touch of it. So almost like the unburned sticks like in the boxes that you'd smell when you're going through some of these, you know, kind of hippie and coastal towns. That's kind of what I picture with this. I think the iris and the coconut really do mix extremely well here, and I think as it starts to settle down, it starts to smell a little bit salty and almost like tanning lotion. So you have that coconut sunscreen and you have some of that tanning lotion vibes. So I think, again, this is definitely going to be unisex, maybe leaning a little bit more feminine, at least in the opening. So what's kind of funny is as this starts to settle down onto the skin, about an hour or so later, some of the spices and some more of that incense definitely do come out. It's almost a little bit of a bitter, salty skin DNA. So you definitely smell like suntan and skin. And actually, now that I think about it, it's starting to remind me a little bit of Tom Ford's Vanilla Sex. So if you've ever smelled that one, it's a very salty, sultry vanilla that's definitely creamy, but I think this definitely takes a little bit of inspiration from that. And also the Jean Paul Gaultier La Mail Le Parfum, which I do have here. So it's kind of a mix between those vanillic, sweet, spicy fragrances mixed with a little bit of that creamy freshness that makes this more of a summer version. But that's actually really, really pleasant. I think they really are onto something here because it doesn't remind me 100% of Le Beau Le Parfum like a lot of people are comparing it to. I think it definitely takes inspiration from that, and it's actually reminding me a little bit of an old school Axe fragrance. Kind of reminds me of Axe Phoenix, I think it was. It was the pink bottle. It had coconut, it had hazelnut. I remember I wore it all the time in high school, and so this is giving me a slight vision of that, but I think this is definitely done 100 times better, and it smells way, way more mature. So I would probably recommend you wear this on a warmer spring or summer day. I think this is definitely a vacation fragrance. I was just on the Pacific Coast and I kind of wish that I got this before I left because I would have rocked the hell out of this on the beach. But this really just does fit that nice creamy coconut suntan lotion vibe, especially if you're into that and you like something a little bit salty, a little bit musky, and that smells a little bit like just somebody's skin. So whether you like that or not, that could be a good or a bad thing. I think that's why I was kind of drawing inspiration from the Tom Ford Vanilla Sex. I think it definitely emulates that without smelling too Play-Doh-like, because honestly, that Vanilla Sex one, it just smells like sweaty, sweet vanilla Play-Doh. It's really gross and not worth the $400 or $500. I don't know what they were thinking. But here it definitely does smell salty, and it does have that nice vanilla with some of those skin tones, but I think this does it way better. Yeah, once this dries down, it definitely becomes a lot more smooth, and it really does kind of sit closer to your skin and on your clothes around the 5-hour mark. So in terms of performance and longevity, I get about 8 hours of longevity on this one, on my clothes and on my skin. And again, around the 5-hour mark, it really starts to settle down towards your skin and your clothes. So that's pretty good. 5 hours going pretty strong, and then you can still definitely smell it on your clothes, but you just start to notice it less and less around that 7 to 8 hour mark. So as this starts to mature and sit and age on your shelf, it's going to get a lot longer, I'm imagining, and I feel like it's going to get even creamier. But ultimately, I love the coconut, the sea salt, and the iris in here. I think that is a beautiful trifecta, and I think Lattafa have really done a nice thing with this one. And funny enough, when I wore this one over the past couple days, I did get 2 compliments from them, one from a woman and one from a guy. So really, I think that just goes to show that anybody can pull this off. In terms of price, I don't think this is really worth the $50, especially that they're asking for right upon release. I know it's gonna be a hot item, and if you want it first, like I did, maybe you'll wanna spend that $50, but I would wait until this hits about the $30 mark, because then I think you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. It still smells really good though. And I'm noticing a pattern of their regular Lattafas creeping up in price. So not their Pride line, they're just regular Lattafa fragrances. So they know that they're at the top of the game, that everybody knows them. And I feel like with inflation, their prices are definitely creeping up. So it's up to you to give into that and feed that market beast. But if you want something that smells very refreshing, very summer friendly, and just something that will smell very creamy, coconutty, and ultimately really unisex, I think you're gonna love this one. And that one is Lattafa Asad Zanzibar. So that does it for today's video. Thank you so much for checking this video out. If you have tried this fragrance, let me know your thoughts down below. Is it worth the price tag right now? Is it a smooth, well-blended fragrance? I know it's all subjective, and I'd love to hear your opinions, so drop that down in the comments. We also recently hit 5,000 subscribers, so I'd love to give a huge thanks and a shout out to all of you guys who have been regulars since the beginning, and those of you who have just joined on this journey. So I really couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much. I've been Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. Look, they're kissing. Stupid. What the hell?